To overcome my shyness and awkwardness, I've talked to over 1,000 strangers since 2004. And now I have like-minded friends and a quality partner. Today, I'll share with you everything that I learned to help you get results much faster. These are also the exact same advice that I've given to all my past clients who are mostly introverts. But first, let's talk about the biggest mistake that I see shy and introverted people commit. In fact, I've done the exact same thing myself. And if you don't fix this issue, you'll keep missing out on opportunities to make connections. To explain to you what I mean, let's pretend you want to remove a band-aid. If you do it slowly, it's going to be so much more painful. But if you rip it off right away, then you get it over with. And now you feel this huge sense of relief because it's all done. And when it comes to talking to strangers, the exact same ideas apply. From what I've noticed, those who struggle socially tend to overthink the approach. They'll pace back and forth mentally, trying to come up with the perfect opener. And by the time they have something, it's already too late. The opportunity has passed by, and they're mad at themselves for not taking action. If that's happened to you before, then you know how frustrating that can be, right? To fix this issue, follow the 3-second rule. The next time you see someone that you want to talk to, just go for it. Count to 3 and make a move right away. By doing so, you prevent yourself from thinking too much. What you say doesn't have to be anything unique or special. To show you what I mean, here are some examples that I've used in the past. If you're at a coffee shop and someone's on their laptop, you can ask them what they're working on. If you're at the gym and you see someone you want to chat with, you can ask if they're training for anything specific. If you're at a meetup event, you can ask someone how they heard about it. As you can see, these openers are really not that complicated. What matters more is that you actually do it. If you're willing to, you can even memorize a handful of them. That way, you'll always have something to fall back on. By doing so, you remove all the guesswork because you know exactly what to say. As a result, you actually start having conversations instead of just imagining them in your head. To help you out, I made a free cheat sheet that will show you how to approach and talk to anybody. Get your free copy in the description below. But that's just the beginning. The next point we're going to talk about can have a huge impact on your interactions. And if you don't figure this out, everything will become so much harder for you. For this to make sense, let me tell you a quick story. When I started my journey to improve my social confidence, I was totally clueless. So I went online to do some research. And back then, most of the resources recommended that I go to bars and clubs to meet people. Not knowing any better, that's exactly what I did. Every weekend, I would force myself to go to these loud and crazy venues. And because I felt overwhelmed, I ended up having to drink to calm myself down. Now, don't get me wrong. At first, I thought it was pretty fun. I even managed to get some phone numbers and go on a few dates. Unfortunately, it didn't really lead to anything substantial. And after many years of doing that, I got really burnt out. That's when I took a break and decided to just focus on myself. I did more things that I enjoyed, and that's when I realized something. Talking to people while doing that was so much easier. Our interactions felt more natural because we had things in common right away. In fact, that's exactly how I met most of my close friends and my long-term girlfriend. We were both at the same venue, and we ended up just chatting. Again, if you want your interactions to feel more effortless, add a social component to your hobbies and interests. By doing so, you increase the probability of meeting like-minded people. Not to mention, you'll have way more fun along the way. Socializing will become more sustainable for you instead of it feeling like a chore. By the way, if you want to learn how to build meaningful relationships, I'd love to connect with you. Book your free consultation by clicking the link below. But if you don't implement this next thing, that's going to be an issue. In fact, not many people will take you seriously. As a result, you'll have a tough time building rapport with others. For me to explain this to you, let me tell you another story. So the other night, I just wanted to turn off my brain. So I was scrolling on Netflix looking for something to watch. And then the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington caught my attention. He's actually one of my favorite actors, but the movie was 2 hours long. So before I committed to it, I read some reviews and watched some trailers. That way, I can see if it's actually good or not. In any case, I'm glad I watched it because the movie was amazing. But if the trailer sucked and a lot of people gave it a 1-star review, then I would have definitely skipped it. Now, you might be wondering why I'm telling you this. You see, as human beings, we're highly visual creatures. We make snap judgments about people right away based on what we see. And at the end of the day, you can be really smart and interesting. But if you don't look like it, then people will just ignore you. And that's why you need to pay attention to your presentation. What you wear communicates to others what you're all about before you even say anything. Just think about it. How would you treat someone who's wearing a baggy hoodie with stains on it compared to someone who's wearing a well-fitting shirt? Very differently, right? The first person looks like they don't care, while the second one looks like they have their life together. Again, that's why you'll want to put some effort into your appearance. To help you implement this, just think of the impression you want to give off to others, and then find someone who's already achieved that. It could be a celebrity, an influencer, or someone that you know. Study their outfits and just copy what they wear. Speaking from experience, improving my appearance has helped me out a lot. Even though I'm short and just average looking, people are usually receptive when I talk to them. In fact, in some cases, I was the one being approached. When you look like someone worth getting to know, more people will pay attention to you. They'll listen to what you have to say, and you'll have an easier time forming a connection. Unfortunately, you'll still struggle during your interactions if you don't internalize this next point. You'll often feel anxious, and you'll have a hard time putting yourself out there. For this to make sense, think of someone who did something silly or embarrassing. Maybe they tripped, spilled coffee on their shirt, or got ignored in a group conversation. So let's assume that you did see someone like that in the past. Well, you were probably not thinking about it until I brought it up, right? From what I've noticed, those who struggle socially often assume that everyone's just looking at them. That's why they get in their heads and become self-conscious. They're so afraid of rejection because they think that everyone's just judging them. As a former shy guy, that was the assumption that held me back for so long. Knowing what I know now, here's what I realized. Nobody's paying as much attention to you as you might think. The same way that you're overly concerned about how you're coming across, most people are worried about the exact same thing. They're too caught up with their own problems and insecurities. They don't have time to worry about you. I know for me, when I internalized this perspective, that's when everything changed. I just felt more free to be myself and do what I want. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had my fair share of rejection and awkward moments. I've talked to girls who weren't interested, told boring stories, and made jokes that fell flat. But because I know it won't matter in the long run, I'm less bothered by them. I just brush it off, move on, and keep going. Once you realize that the rejection isn't really a big deal, you won't take anything personally anymore. You'll bounce back much quicker, and you'll keep putting yourself out there. But everything else we've talked about won't matter without this next thing. In fact, if you don't internalize this, you'll often feel discouraged. As a result, you'll hold yourself back and your situation won't improve. To explain to you what I mean, let me tell you a quick story. As a teenager, I used to be massively overweight. At 5'5", I tipped the scale at 200 pounds and had a 36-inch waist. Tired of being made fun of, I made a commitment to get in shape. At first, it was really challenging. I had to change my diet and spend hours at the gym. But despite that, I just kept at it until I finally reached my fitness goals. These days, it's been so easy to maintain my weight that I don't really think about it anymore. Now, what does this have to do with talking to strangers? If right now you're shy and introverted, you probably spend a lot of time in isolation. You have a hard time interacting with others because you lack the knowledge and experience socializing. And if you want to become more outgoing, you have to anticipate that it's going to be difficult. But that's just in the beginning. The more people that you talk to, the easier that it gets. Eventually, socializing with others will become second nature and just part of who you are. That's why you just have to be persistent. Also, trust me when I say that this is one of the best skills you can ever develop. When you can approach people that you don't know, doors will open up for you. You'll be able to make friends, attract a partner, and stand out in your career. You'll create unlimited opportunities for yourself simply because you know how to put yourself out there. Basically, having better social skills will improve the quality of your life. But there's something important that we didn't talk about today. You see, if you want to build rapport with others, you have to be able to hold a conversation. If not, then you'll just have awkward lulls and you'll make whoever you're with feel uncomfortable. To make sure that doesn't happen to you, watch this next video. That's where I give you more actionable tips to never run out of things to say. By the end of it, your interactions will feel more effortless, so make sure you check it out.